Have you ever realized that most of your daily exhaustion doesn't come from what you actually do, but from the endless scenarios your mind keeps replaying that never even happened? You think you're being careful, being responsible, but in truth, you're trapped in the loop of anxiety, where your brain writes dark scripts to fill the uncertainty gap. And instead of keeping you safe, it only drains you long before anything real occurs. You've had nights lying awake because of one unanswered email and/or replayed dozens of versions of a short conversation that lasted only a few minutes. Your body feels like a tightened string. Your heart races. Your breath shortens. While outside, nothing dangerous is happening. You're not living in the present. You're living in imagined futures. The paradox is this. Worry rarely prevents the bad, but it's very good at robbing you of the good. You miss a peaceful day simply because you were busy imagining tomorrow. You lose your inner freedom simply because you're clinging to what hasn't arrived. Carl Jung once reminded us, "What you resist will persist and return as fate." And in this video, you'll see, worry isn't proof of care. It's an unconscious habit. More importantly, you'll learn how to finally set down that suitcase of worry and discover what it feels like to walk lighter, freer, and truly present. There is a truth few people admit. Most of your exhaustion doesn't come from your job, nor entirely from your relationships. It comes from the endless hours you spend trapped in the spiral of worry. You don't just live the event. You live 10 exaggerated versions of it in your head. You wait for an important call. The phone stays silent. Instead of enjoying the pause, your mind starts spinning stories. Perhaps they no longer need you. Maybe something bad has happened. Maybe you just ruined everything. You sit there with no evidence at all. Yet your body reacts as if the disaster has already struck. Or imagine one evening, you notice a family member is quieter than usual. Instead of asking directly, you spend hours interpreting. They must be angry. They must be disappointed. You must have done something wrong. And the more you think, the more distant you feel, while the truth might be as simple as they're just tired. The most painful part is this. Worry doesn't only take away your peace, it also robs you of presence in your own life. You sit at dinner with your family, but your mind is busy rehearsing scripts for tomorrow. You go for a walk, but your eyes are distant, your thoughts lost in endless what-ifs. And when the day ends, you feel empty, because no memory was truly lived. The problem isn't that you care too much. The problem is that you believe worry equals care. You confuse worry with responsibility. You think the more you worry, the more you prove you're committed. But in reality, worry is nothing more than an iron band, tightening until you can barely breathe. Look deeper and you'll see. Worry doesn't make you stronger. It only makes you more fragile. Because every time the real event arrives, you've already drained your energy fighting imaginary battles, and that is the loop that keeps you exhausted. You worry to prepare, but by the time it happens, you're already too tired to stand tall. The real question is not, how do I stop worrying? The real question is, why do I believe worry is necessary? That false belief is the lock that keeps you trapped. There is a reason why it feels almost impossible to break free from the spiral of worry. Deep in your unconscious, you hold the belief that worrying gives you control. Psychologists call this the illusion of control. The mind whispers, if I think long enough, if I prepare thoroughly enough, if I imagine every possible scenario, I can prevent risk. But the truth is simple. Worry has never made a problem smaller. It only drains you before the problem even arrives. Carl Jung pointed out that people often project their fears outward, trying to control the world around them, while the real work lies within. When you worry about someone's silence, what you truly fear is not the silence itself, but the feeling of being abandoned. When you worry about making a mistake at work, the real fear is not the error, but the collapse of the image you hold of yourself as valuable and competent. By avoiding that inner shadow, you convince yourself that worry is a shield. Stoic philosophy echoes the same warning. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Think of how many times you replayed a worst-case scenario in your head, only to find that when the event happened, it was nowhere near as bad as you feared. How many nights have you lost sleep over a meeting, only to discover it ended in just a few minutes? The illusion of control makes you mistake worry for preparation, but in reality, worry erodes your ability to adapt. Connect this back to what we uncovered in P2. The problem has never been the event itself. The problem is your relationship with uncertainty. Instead of accepting that some things will always be beyond your reach, you trap yourself in endless loops of what if. And those loops do not grant you power. They only drain the very energy you need to live. The essential question to hold is this: can you let go of the illusion of control and realize that presence is what makes you resilient? Because peace does not come from predicting everything in advance. Peace comes when you stop trying to. If you ever wonder why it is so hard to escape the habit of worrying, the answer lies more in your past than in your present. From childhood, you were taught that worry equals love. When your mother said, "I stayed up all night because I was worried about you," you learned that worrying meant caring. When your father reminded you, "Think carefully or you will regret it later," you understood that being anxious about the future meant being responsible. Each phrase, though filled with good intentions, planted an unconscious program inside you. Only those who worry are good. Only those who worry are valuable. But this program carries a hidden shadow. You start to believe that if you are not worried, you are irresponsible, careless, or even heartless. And so, whenever your mind falls quiet, you unconsciously search for something to worry about. An unanswered message, an uncertain plan, a fleeting look from someone nearby. Anything can become raw material to feed the worry machine inside your head. The cycle forms itself. You worry about feeling responsible. Worry makes you tense and exhausted. You tell yourself you must worry more to avoid mistakes. In the end, it is worry itself that robs you of peace and clarity. You think you are controlling, but in truth, you are the one being controlled. Think back to the last time you made a small mistake. You probably worried for days or even weeks beforehand, hoping to avoid it. Yet the mistake still happened. And when it did, you scolded yourself. "I should have worried more." But the reality is that you did not fail because you worried too little. You failed because you were not present. When worry hijacks your mind, there is no space left to focus on what is truly happening. The hard truth is this: worry once had a purpose. As a child, it kept you alert, kept you safe. But in adulthood, that same mechanism becomes a chain. It is like old software still running silently in the background, draining all your resources, slowing everything down while you remain unaware. You no longer need it to survive, yet your unconscious has never been updated. The breaking point lies here. You do not worry because the world is too dangerous. You worry because your unconscious still believes that worry is necessary, and only when you dare to ask, "Who am I worrying for? Why am I worrying? And is this worry truly useful?" will you begin to see the crack in the cycle. The shift in perspective is this: worry does not prove that you love. Worry does not prove that you are responsible. It only proves that your past is still driving your present. The peace you have been searching for will never come from worrying more. It will only come from learning to stand still in the gap, the space where you allow things to unfold as they unfold. Imagine you are dragging a heavy suitcase behind you. With every step it clatters along, slowing you down, taking up space, and making the journey heavier. You never open it, yet you believe carrying it is necessary. That suitcase is the bundle of worries you keep inside your head. You convince yourself they prepare you, but in truth, most of them are only scenarios that never happened. The strange part is, no one forced this suitcase into your hands. Others may warn you, others may remind you, but you are the one who chose to pick it up and carry it. And the longer you pull it, the more exhausted you become. Sometimes, when you dare to crack it open, you find nothing inside but scraps of paper with scribbles. What if? Maybe. Just in case. None of it makes your steps safer. It only makes them heavier. Worry works in the same way. It does not truly prevent risk. It simply drains your energy before anything has even occurred. It is like paying in advance for a product you are not even sure you will ever buy. This suitcase has 3 defining traits. It is heavy, it rattles, and it takes up space. Heavy because it drains all lightness from your body and mind. Rattling because it fills your head with constant noise, never allowing for silence. And taking up space because it leaves little room for joy, for creativity, for presence. You can try one small experiment. Put the suitcase down, even for just a few minutes. Immediately, your body feels lighter, your breathing deeper, your steps freer. The world does not collapse just because you stop carrying it. On the contrary, you begin to notice details that were always there, waiting, but had no room to reach you. The suitcase metaphor reminds you that peace never comes from straining harder to control everything. It comes from daring to release the burdens that were never truly yours to hold. And when the suitcase is finally set down, you will understand that what you needed was never another backup plan, never another what if, but simply one present step, lived fully in this moment. Ask yourself this: how many years have you been dragging that suitcase along? How many mornings have you opened your eyes only to find your mind already packed with a list of worries? How many nights have you lain down, not to rest, but to replay endless what-if scenarios in your head? Think back to the last time you went out with friends. On the surface, you laughed, you joined the conversation, yet inside, a voice kept whispering, "What needs to be done tomorrow? Did I forget something? Do they think wrongly about me?" You might have been sitting in the middle of joy, but the suitcase of worry sat right under your feet, heavy, rattling, invisible to everyone but you. Or take a moment when you received a compliment. For a brief instant you felt happy, but seconds later your mind started asking, "Do they mean it? Can I keep this up? What if I fail next time?" The joy barely had a chance to breathe before the suitcase clattered again, reminding you that it is never safe to relax. The cost is not just fatigue. The real price is stolen moments. You sit at the dinner table with family, but your mind is busy drafting scripts for a future that has not arrived. You take a walk, yet your eyes are fixed far away, trapped in calculation. You are there in body, but in truth, you are absent. So hold the mirror closer. Who do you worry for more than yourself? How much of your time has been spent carrying possibilities that never became reality? And most importantly, can you even remember the last time you truly breathed light, unburdened, without that suitcase clinging to you? If the answer feels too far away, then that itself is the sign. It is time to practice setting the suitcase down, even once, just to see how much lighter the world can be than you ever imagined. We often confuse one thing. Worry is not love, and it is not preparation. It is simply depletion disguised as care. You can worry about your loved ones until you cannot sleep, but that sleeplessness does not make them safer. You can worry about your work until you are exhausted, but that exhaustion does not make your work better. Worry only takes away. It never adds. To escape this loop, you need a new frame. Start by calling things by their true names. Instead of saying, "I worry about them," say, "I am imagining something bad that might happen." Instead of, "I worry that I'm not good enough," try, "I am creating a scenario that does not exist yet." The shift in words may sound small, but it breaks the illusion that worry is a useful action. It gives you back the truth. Worry is only a thought, not a deed. You can also train another habit. Replace the phrase "what if" with "right now." For example, instead of "what if I fail tomorrow," ask, "right now, what can I do?" With just one word changed, your mind is pulled back to the present, the only place where you truly have a choice. Reframing also means accepting a truth. Peace does not come from knowing everything in advance, but from the ability to stand firm before the unknown. A calm person is not someone who controls everything. A calm person is someone who refuses to be swallowed by what has not yet happened. You may notice that others do not recognize you when you begin to change. They might say, "You seem careless now, like you don't worry about anything." But carelessness is not irresponsibility. It is a new clarity. You choose to care about what is actually present, not about suitcases of worry that have never been opened. And that clarity may unsettle others, because they were used to the version of you that was always tense, always ready to carry weight that wasn't yours. One inner statement you can keep close is this: worry is not proof that I love. Presence is proof. Repeat it each time your mind tries to run into another imagined script. This sentence works like a cord pulling you back to the present, reminding you that love is not measured by hours of lost sleep, but by your ability to truly be there when someone needs you. When you shift your language, when you shift your frame, you will notice that worry still comes, but it no longer commands. It becomes like a distant bell. You hear it, but you do not need to run after it. And that is the moment you realize you are stepping out of the spiral and moving toward freedom. Understanding alone is not enough. You need small steps to remind yourself to put the suitcase down. The first action is to set a time limit for worry. Each day, choose a 15-minute window to write down everything you are anxious about. When the time is up, fold the paper and set it aside. This practice helps you see that worry is just an activity with boundaries, not the default state of your entire day. The second action is to return to your senses. Whenever your mind begins to build scenarios, touch something nearby, listen to a sound in the room, or notice the rhythm of your breath. These small details pull you back into the present moment, the place where the suitcase does not yet exist. The third action, try a day of adding no meaning. Whatever happens, a glance, a message, a silence, you resist the urge to label it. You let it be what it is, and you watch how much lighter your mind feels when it is not busy assigning stories to every event. These steps are small, but repeated often. They reshape the way you move through life. Because peace is not about eliminating worry. It is about remembering that the suitcase can be placed down at any moment. And each time you set it down, even for a few minutes, you take one more step toward freedom. If you do not change, the price will not arrive in one dramatic moment. It will seep in slowly like rain, dripping through a ceiling. You will continue dragging the suitcase behind you, hearing it rattle through every moment. You will wake up already tired, not because of any crisis, but because your mind has been running 1,000 loops through the night. You will pass through moments that should have been beautiful, a shared meal, a trip, a conversation, but remember almost nothing, because worry has taken up all the space. And one day, you will realize you have lived for decades without truly being present. Worry does not protect you. It only drains you before life has even unfolded. Left unchecked, it hardens into a generational habit. You worry for your loved ones, and they watch you and learn to worry the same way. A loop stretched across generations. But if you dare to set the suitcase down, a new quality begins to appear. You are not careless, you are present. You are not shallow, you are clear. You can listen to others without carrying all of their sadness on your shoulders. You can prepare for tomorrow while still living fully in today. And you begin to see that the good things often arrive on their own when you stop forcing them with anxiety. The closing philosophy here is simple yet demanding. Freedom does not begin when you strain to cover every possible scenario. It begins when you dare to believe that you can stand steady even when you hold no script in your hands. Imagine you are walking down a long road, and for the first time your hands are empty. The suitcase that has followed you for so many years is now resting quietly by the side of the path. You walk lighter, your breath feels deeper. Everything around you is the same. The sound of traffic, the wind brushing past, the eyes of strangers passing by. But something inside you has shifted. You no longer have to carry all the what-ifs that never took shape. You only need to walk, one step at a time. This video cannot erase all of your worries. What it can do is remind you that the suitcase was never locked to your hand. Every day, you have the chance to set it down, even for a moment, and remember the freedom and lightness that were always there. If you want to try today, begin with something small. When your mind starts building a worst-case scenario, pause and ask yourself, do I really need to carry this suitcase right now? That one question is enough to give you another choice. And further down the road, there are deeper doors into presence waiting to open. When you are ready, they will reveal themselves.